y'all, it's Cam again. So this is a letter, or actually a speech, made by Nikita Khrushchev, who was a leader of the USSR party, or whatever you want to call it at the time. I don't know exactly how they were set up, the party congress or whatever. He's given a scathing review of the way that Joseph Stalin actually placed himself in the dictatorship of the USSR at that time. And so, anyway, he's going through some of the things that he's done. And the reason I think it's important is we have to learn from history, because this guy up in New York, this Mamdani guy, whatever his name is trying to do all this government run stuff and pay for all these things out of taxpayer dollars, tax the hell out of people. It's like this stuff's been tried before and it's failed every single time, like all this socialism and communism stuff. And you see, if you know anything about history, obviously, then you see that the way that Stalin did all this stuff with the collectivization and then obviously the great purges and stuff like that, it was not good for the USSR. And he put himself up as the dictator, and really it was supposed to be like a group of like 5 to 7 people in the Politburo that was making decisions for everybody, the party, as they called it. And then you would have the proletariat, the working class. But that's not what happened. So anyway, we're right here, and I'm going to set a timer for like 10 minutes because I know this one's a pretty long document. I think it's in book form, it might like be 82 pages. But we're going to start here. It says, this letter, a political document of tremendous importance, known in the party's history as Lenin's Testament, was distributed among you delegates to this 20th Party Congress. You've read it and will undoubtedly read it again more than once. You might reflect on Lenin's plain words, in which expression is given to Vladimir Ilyinch's, I think that's how you say it, Ilyinch's anxiety concerning the party, the people, the state, and the future direction of party policy. Vladimir Ilyich said, Stalin is excessively rude, and this defect, which can be freely tolerated in our midst and in context among us communists, becomes a defect which cannot be tolerated in one holding the position of General Secretary. Because of this, I propose that the comrades consider the method by which Stalin would be removed from his position, and by which another man would be selected for it, a man who, above all, would differ from Stalin in only one quality, namely greater tolerance, greater loyalty, greater kindness, and more considerate attitude towards the comrades, a less capricious temper, etc. This document of Lenin's was made known to the delegates at the 13th Party Congress, who discussed the question of transferring Stalin for the position of General Secretary. The delegates declared themselves in favor of retaining Stalin in this post, hoping that he would heed Vladimir Ilyinch's critical remarks and would be able to overcome the defects which caused Lenin serious anxiety. Comrades, the Party Congress should become acquainted with 2 new documents which confirm Stalin's character as already outlined by Vladimir Ilyich Lenin in his testament. These documents are a letter from Nadezhda Konstantinovna Krupskaya to Lev Kamenev, who was at that time head of the Politburo. I think that's how you say it, Politburo. And a personal letter from Ilyich or Vladimir Ilyich Lenin to Stalin. I will now read these documents. Lev Borosovich, Borosovich, I think that's how you say that. Hold on. Because of a short letter which I had written in words dictated to me by Vladimir Ilyich by permission of the doctor, Stalin allowed himself yesterday an unusually rude outburst directed at me. This is not my first day in the party. During all these 30 years, I have never heard one word of rudeness from any comrade. The party's and Ilyinch's business is no less dear to me than to Stalin. I need maximum self-control right now. What one can and what one cannot discuss with Ilyich, I know better than any doctor, because I know what makes him nervous and what does not. In any case, I know it better than Stalin. I'm turning to you and Grigory Zinoviev as much closer comrades of Vladimir or VI, Vladimir Ilyich. I beg you to protect me from rude interference with my private life and from vile invectives and threats. I have no doubt what the Control Commission's unanimous decision in this matter, with which Stalin sees fit to threaten me, will be. However, I have neither strength nor time to waste on the foolish quarrel, and I'm a human being and my nerves are strained to the utmost. In Krupskaya, Nadezhda Konstantinova, I think that's how I can't say some of these Russian names, I can't pronounce them, wrote this letter on December 23rd, 1922. After 2.5 months, in March 1923, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin sent Stalin the following letter. To Comrade Stalin, copies for Kamenev and Zinoviev. Dear Comrade Stalin, you permitted yourself a rude summons of my wife to the telephone and a rude reprimand of her, despite the fact that she told you that she agreed to forget what you said. Nevertheless, Zinoviev and Kamenev heard about it from her. I have no intention to forget so easily that which is being done against me. I need not stress here that I consider as directed against me that which is being done against my wife. I ask you, therefore, that you weigh carefully whether you are agreeable to retracting your words and apologizing, or whether you prefer the severance of relations between us. And that Krupskaya is Lenin's wife. Commotion in the hall. Oh, this says sincerely Lenin, March 5th, 1923. And then, so there's a commotion in the hall because, anyway, I guess this is way back when. It says, comrades, I will not comment on these documents. They speak eloquently for themselves. Since Stalin could behave in this manner during Lenin's life, could thus behave toward Nezdaya, whatever, Krupskaya. I'm sorry, I'm not saying the names right. Whom the party knows well and values highly as a loyal friend of Lenin and as an active fighter for the cause of the party. Since its creation, we can easily imagine how Stalin treated other people. These negative characteristics of his developed steadily and during the last years acquired an absolutely insufferable character. As later events have proven, Lenin's anxiety was justified. In the first period after Lenin's death, Stalin still paid attention to his advice, but later he began to disregard the serious admonitions of Vladimir Ilyich. When we analyze the practice of Stalin in regard to the direction of the party and the country, when we pause to consider everything which Stalin perpetrated, we must be convinced that Lenin's fears were justified. The negative characteristics of Stalin, which in Lenin's time were only incipient, transformed themselves during the last years into a grave abuse of power by Stalin, which caused untold harm to our party. We have considered or have to consider seriously and analyze correctly this matter in order that we may preclude any possibility of repetition in any form whatever of what took place during the life of Stalin, who absolutely did not tolerate collegiality in leadership and in work, and who practiced brutal violence not only toward everything which opposed him, but also toward that which seemed to his capricious and despotic character contrary to his concepts. Stalin acted not through persuasion, explanation, and patient cooperation with people, but by imposing his concepts and demanding absolute submission to his opinion. Whoever opposed these concepts or tried to prove his own viewpoint and the correctness of his own position was doomed to removal from the leadership collective and to subsequent moral and physical annihilation. This was especially true during the period following the 17th Party Congress, when many prominent party leaders and rank and file party workers, honest and dedicated to the cause of communism, fell victim to Stalin's despotism. We must affirm that the party fought a serious fight against the Trotskyites, rightists, and bourgeois nationalists, and that it disarmed ideologically all the enemies of Leninism. This ideological fight was carried out successfully, as a result of which the party became strengthened and tempered. Here, Stalin played a positive role. The party led a great political ideological struggle against those in its ranks who opposed anti-Leninist theses, who represented a political line hostile to the party and to the cause of socialism. This was a stubborn, and a difficult fight, but a necessary one, because the political line of both the Trotskyite and Zinovievites, I can't even say that, Zinovievites, I guess I say it, block, and of the Bukharinites, I can't say that either, led actually toward the restoration of capitalism and toward capitulation to the world bourgeoisie. Anyway, let us consider for a moment what would have happened if in 1928 to 29 the political line of right deviation had prevailed against us or among us, or orientation toward cotton dress industrialization, or toward the kulak, which is a farmer, etc. We would not now have a powerful, heavy industry. We would not have the coal coals. I can't say that. We would find ourselves disarmed and weak in capitalist encirclement. All right. I think I'm going to stop it right here. I may stop for today, but at least we got to here, whatever that is. We still got to go all the way down to here. But anyway, um, hopefully you're getting some information from this. Stalin was not a very good guy. But anyway, I will talk to y'all later. Have a good afternoon. See y'all. Bye.